This is Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. We've got some things to talk about. I've got an excuse to drag comic books into the conversation, though it's all going down today. And still more praise for Dak Prescott. And look, I'm not saying the guy doesn't deserve praise. He's been very good in the NFL preseason, but I feel like we need to accent preseason. It's a series of, unless you are trying to make the team, worthless exhibition games. It doesn't mean anything. He's not playing against defenses that are actually trying to deceive him. He's going against base defenses in the NFL. And to his credit, tearing them to pieces, right? Because if it was this easy to do, Jared Goff would be having an easier go at it. So would Carson Wentz. So would Paxton Lynch. So would any of the other guys drafted in front of him. I get it. All right, I do. I think Dak Prescott's going to have a really good NFL career. I don't want any more flack from the people who are now jumping on board the Dak Prescott train. I was the conductor of the Dak Prescott train. Before he got drafted, I said he was a first rounder. The fact that he fell to the fourth is, that's history now. But I was saying he's first round talent. So I don't want to catch any of this flack, okay? And I don't know necessarily, but you just don't want to kick the hive that Cowboys fans are swirled up in. Like when Cowboys fans get into a tizzy about something, you don't want to kick it. You don't want to touch that at all. When Cowboys fans are ready to go, you leave that one alone. It's like music fans. There's some musical artists you cannot mock or touch or make fun of because people will come after you. Beyonce, untouchable. Doesn't matter if you're right. Leave her alone. Her fans are terrifying. They'll come after you. Tupac fans, don't ever say anything about Tupac. They're coming for you. Aaliyah fans, you leave her alone. Look, I don't care if people are like, well, she wouldn't be as considered as great an artist if she hadn't died. Well, you know what? You can be right about that all you want to, but you don't want her fans anywhere near you. They're vicious. Cowboys fans are the same way. You piss off Dallas Cowboy Nation on the internet, and you can go ahead and tell your inbox to rest in peace. You will not be able to access it for a while. It's getting hammered. Okay? It's just how this is going down. So no, my point is not to upset Dallas Cowboy Nation or the good people of Starkville, Mississippi, because they're very passionate about this Dak Prescott opinion. He's a really good quarterback. He's going to be fine. And when Dallas is ready for a good quarterback and they're ready to move forward beyond the Tony Romo era, whenever that is, he's going to be good for them. Okay? He's going to be pretty amazing. I just don't like and think it's entirely strange and entirely weird that we are building Dak Prescott's bust for Canton, Ohio. What, two preseason games in? He's had 2 really good preseason games. And that's bizarre. It's just bizarre. And I understand. It's Dallas. The Cowboys are going to get more attention in that way than anybody else. But if he winds up in the Hall of Fame, it's not going to be because he started off great in preseason. Okay? And he's flashing all the talents that, if you watched him on a regular basis, you knew he had. You knew he had. It just, they never gave him a chance because he's an SEC quarterback, and just how that plays out, SEC quarterbacks typically, unless they are like prototypical pocket passer, Matthew Stafford, looks brilliant coming out of high school type guys, unless they're that guy, we don't even give them necessarily the same credit that they deserve. So I understand where you would be a little bit defensive if you're a Mississippi State Bulldog fan. I get it. But come on, man. His career is just starting. Let the guy start for the team that he's playing for first before we induct him into the Hall of Fame. I feel like we're skipping steps. One really big step being his entire career. Let him have it first. Right? Man, you're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. That's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Search Hot News Talk Radio for the best in local Chattanooga news, sports, and opinions. Make sure to check us out also at hotnewstalkradio.com or noogaradio.com. Those are the places you can stream all of our programming 24/7, 365, including this show, Clutch with Keon Rose. We get together every Monday to Friday, 6 to 7 o'clock to talk about sports, both local and abroad. And also, check out the TuneIn Radio app. Again, that's the TuneIn Radio app. Free in your favorite app store. Simply search Hot News Talk Radio in the app. Give us a favorite. Press play. You'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. That's TuneIn Radio. Listen like you mean it. So, we've got the end of list season coming up. List season being, of course, the time when we got all these wonderful lists to talk about. The list season is just an excuse for, it's waiting for football to come back. That's the season that list season is. We just make up all of these lists predicting things about the NFL season and about the college football season so we can talk about football, because that's what we want. Like, school comes back, if you're a parent and you've got kids and you start sending the little ones back to school, you know, it's like a double dose of happiness for you, really. One, your kids are off at school. Two, football is back. That's basically what that means. High school football started last week. College football starting in a little under a week and a half. All of the teams are starting to do their pregame planning for all of the teams that are their upcoming opponents, right? And then the week after that, we got the good old NFL. It's all coming back to us. But until it all comes back to us, we've got all of these happy, wonderful lists to go down. And also preview things that just boggle the mind. Marvel has made a number of opening day comic book covers for the college football season. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And I want to be able to describe exactly why it is that I'm not a fan. Some of it is I think that we got a little bit too caught up in the fact that this is a comic book cover, so it has to be superhero versus superhero. So we have one really awkward picture of the Texas Longhorn mascot trying to fight the Fighting Irish mascot, and he's got gloves, but he's shirtless, but he's ripped, but he's a bull. He looks like a centaur fighting an Irishman. It's not. It's just bizarre. It's like someone took an acid trip and then made these comic book covers. The Oklahoma Sooners are going to open their season against the Houston Cougars, which this is otherwise a very good picture, except for the fact that it's the image of this, the eyes, the Oklahoma Sooner mascot being a horse. What is a Sooner even, by the way? I want to look this up. Is the Sooner, I've always seen their mascot as this horse or a wagon. And I could have researched this better and learned more about Oklahoma, except I hate them. And so it really doesn't, I don't want to delve too much into anything about them. I don't like them at all. So it really just gets to me. I couldn't research it. I started to type Oklahoma into my computer and it started melting. But I'm looking at this horse, and two things stand out to me that make this very weird to me as an image. One, it's a horse that's got hands, and therefore fingernails, and it's disturbing. And then, of course, the eyes of the horse will haunt your soul forever. So, of course, I'm going to put that on the Facebook page for everyone to see. These covers, the NBA had one a few years back when LeBron went to Miami. Marvel also did covers for the NBA, and it just seems like those were better done. They look like the covers were just less weird. It was about referencing comic book characters as opposed to what we have going on here with everybody is a mascot fighting a mascot. And then the one place where you're afraid to touch mascots is Ole Miss playing Florida State, where obviously you see how everything's happening around the Washington Redskins. Nobody wants to deal with the Seminole mascot. You don't want to try and draw a caricature of a Native American. That is horrifyingly insensitive. So what we have are these red and gold guys, just nondescript red and gold guys fighting Chad Kelly on top of what appears to be a gallows, but I can't be certain, and I'm not sure why. Sure, they also didn't want to draw the rebels because nobody wants to touch Civil War mascot tree, I guess, but you should have drawn the rebel. You should have drawn the rebel versus the what was sure to be insensitive Native American, because what this is Chad Kelly in full football uniform throwing a punch at two muscle-bound guys, one red and one yellow, neither of which is a Seminole. What is the point of this cover? Like, if you felt afraid to draw what this was, why didn't you just pick a different game and draw that? It's all very perplexing stuff. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I like what they did with the NBA covers. They referenced the Spider-Man cover. Hey, look, they got the Silver Surfer with the Brooklyn Nets. What went wrong? Why did the college football ones turn out so terrible? And it's Marvel. Like, maybe Marvel's they've just made a lot of money and they've just gotten lazy. That's possibly what it is. It's very, very possible. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. The Ryan Lochte story is still hanging around here. I keep hearing people talk about how it's not that big a deal, which is the most hilarious thing to me. Because, of course, it's a very big deal. I was listening to a guy the other night who was basically saying, you know, when you think back on this Olympics like 10 years from now, you're not going to remember Ryan Lochte at all. You're going to remember Simone Biles and Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps. 10 years from now, first off, we're not going to remember which Olympics was which. Like, we're going to remember that Simone Biles was